or simply get out of the way. Joining me now, Senator Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia, who has just proposed his own bipartisan initiative to create jobs. Senator, great to see you.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, well, I want to start with your own proposal for jobs and go over some of those details, like the job grant program, training and education program, federal financing to increase exports. Why go in this direction? Why did you choose these elements?
Well, first of all, what we've proposed, and this is with Congressman Frank Wolf, a Republican colleague of mine also from Virginia, we don't think there's a single silver bullet. I think we've got to be active on a number of fronts, and I'd like to come to the debt and deficit as well, which would go a long way if we can get a plan in place to restoring confidence, to get some of the $2.5 trillion that's sitting in private capital off the sidelines.
Right.
Reinvested. But what we laid out on Friday was one additional tool that would not cost additional money. It would reshape part of the existing Commerce Department budget. And it really focuses on how can we, one, expand exports. 95% of the new customers for American business are not going to be in this country. They're going to be foreign-based. And how can we do more to sell things abroad? And at the second point, how can we start bringing back some of the jobs that went offshore, in effect, repatriate them back home? I remember I was governor of Virginia, and we were able to compete against the New Yorks and the Californias. It was tougher when we had to compete for jobs against places like China, like South Korea, even certain times Canada, because those governments could be more flexible in at least attracting jobs. So what we're saying is, in addition to state and local economic development efforts, if these are jobs that are abroad coming back into this country, we would add, in effect, a federal government forgivable $5,000 loan that if those jobs stayed for a minimum of 5 years, had a minimum of number 50 jobs, either in manufacturing or technology, that this, on top of existing state and local economic development efforts, would actually make some of those site location decisions, make America more competitive.
All right, so a $5,000 loan, forgivable or no?
It would be forgivable.
So it's a $5,000 grant.
Well, what it would be, though, is would make sure that those jobs stayed for at least 5 years. An average manufacturing or technology job generates about $10,000 a year in overall state and local taxes. So
well, Senator, let me ask you a question, sir,
quickly.
About what the president's done today on the topic of jobs. Of course, he was meeting with his Jobs Council today. They talked about steps they want to take to improve the job situation. But we're at 9.1% unemployment. 14 million Americans have no work. Has the president done a satisfactory job of trying to increase the number of jobs in this country?
Well, listen, I think we'd all like to see more. But remember where we were 2 years ago when the Dow was at 6,500, when we were losing 700,000 jobs a month, and when most of the talking heads on TV thought that we would be in recession as far as the eye can see. We've now seen the Dow climb back to close to 12,000. We've seen positive job growth, not what we'd like, and we've seen extraordinary actions taken by the government, whether it was the stimulus or whether it was monetary policy to the extraordinary extent. We've used those bullets, so we've got to try some things that are new. We're looking at exports, looking what the president's talking about training, looking as well about trying to get that let that $2.5 trillion in cash sitting on capital balance sheets off the sidelines reinvesting.
And that's a big question because companies are sitting on a lot of cash and not doing anything with it. We'd love to see that work its way into the economy. I want to know what you made of what the Jobs Council proposed today. Worker training, boosting travel, increase small business loans. Did you think this is a thoroughgoing enough answer to the problem of jobs, or are they just getting started?
Well, I think there's the idea that there's going to be some single silver bullet that's going to solve this is, basically very naive and shows folks who really don't understand. As somebody who spent a career in business, before I got into politics in the telecommunications area, I was co-founder of Nextel. It's going to take a multifaceted approach. Tourism is one area where we could actually gain jobs. I think you need a manufacturing component. America needs to make stuff again, and that's why some of the proposals that Congressman Wolf and I had out there. We've got to have that well-trained workforce. Any business leader will say it's not only the tax environment and the regulatory environment, but you've got to have well-trained workers. I also believe we've got to make sure we focus more on exports. We've had the world's largest economy for a long time, but the idea that our American businesses, particularly small and medium-sized businesses, could only look domestically, well, that's yesterday's news. They've got to look abroad if we're going to really grow the economy in terms of export. We got a long way to go.
Senator, thanks for coming in tonight. We really appreciate your time. You got to come back.
Absolutely. Have me back on. Thanks again.
Appreciate it. All right, coming up, Joe Biden has a new role at the White House, also the highest paid celebrities under 30.